Hey, what's up, you guys? This is Movie Critic Rob here with the Movie Channel, and if you've seen the title, you know that we are reviewing The Killing Joke, out only for one night before it's released next month on DVD and Blu-ray. Originally, I really wasn't going to go see this movie. I wanted to see this movie, but I didn't see it in the cards for me to go see this movie. But I happened to notice what day it was, and I happened to notice that I had an hour to get to the movie theater. I was like, boom, The Killing Joke. Let's get it. Now, before we continue, this is a non-spoiler review. I'm going to be reviewing it just on the basis of a movie, partially because although I know The Killing Joke, I know things that happen in The Killing Joke, I even have The Killing Joke comic book because my cousin's a collector, in a sense. I haven't read it all the way through, and if I have, it's been a long time since I've read it all the way through. Actually, no, I don't think I've ever read it all the way through, but I'm familiar enough with the material to know kind of what goes on. And because of all the marketing that went into The Killing Joke, the movie, I now know certain elements in the film, if that makes sense. So with those two disclaimers out of the way, let's dive into The Killing Joke. Now this, to me, I'm just going to say, it is the crown jewel of DC animation. It just is. For a few reasons. One, I believe that the way that they adapt the source material, because some of the comics, yeah, they are adapting comic books to the screen, with the other animated features. This one kind of felt like they really went out of their way to present you with the actual pictures from, the actual imagery that's presented here. And I like that. I like that they went out of their way. All of the creators are the creators of Batman the Animated Series. Now, if that doesn't bring out the inner childhood in you like it does with me, because I grew up on Batman the Animated Series, then I don't really think you can appreciate this movie, because this movie was made by those guys. Bruce Timm, Jay Oliva was in this. Just all those, I can't remember them off the top of my head. I just remember Bruce Timm because that's the name that came up a lot. Michael Uslan, who's the producer on every Batman film, and all those guys were involved in the animated series, as well as Mask of the Phantasm, which I haven't seen in a long time. I kind of want to go back, watch that, because a lot of people have been saying that that's probably the greatest Batman film of all time. I was too young when I saw it to really appreciate it, so maybe once I go back now, I'm be like, oh my gosh. But as far as the on top of the creative team that came on board for Batman the Killing Joke was the voices of Batman and Joker, as you have come to know them from Batman the Animated Series, as well as the Arkham games. I am talking, of course, about Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill. They even did, before the movie even started to screen, they put a video up, and it was Mark Hamill explaining his journey from Luke Skywalker to the Joker, and finding out that he had been cast as the Joker, then playing the Joker in the animated series for years, then playing the Joker again in the Arkham games, which are phenomenal. And as soon as he was going to retire his hat, they came to him with The Killing Joke, which, of course, as a fan himself, he could not pass up. And I'm glad he didn't, because hearing Mark Hamill as the Joker, that's who I grew up with, as the Joker. Now, yeah, I love Ledger. I love Ledger. I like Nicholson, but the animated Joker was always Hamill. Was always Luke Skywalker, which is kind of weird. But he is, and especially because I love the games. I love the Arkham games. I love it. Kevin Conroy as well. Kevin Conroy is a man who brings, and I like that in Killing Joke, you only get to see Bruce Wayne once. You see Batman the rest of the movie, which, honestly, I'm hoping that they take some of that and put it into live action, where we see a movie of just Batman and a hint of Bruce Wayne, but more Batman. Because I think, nobody's done that yet, and everybody tries to paint the balance between the man and the Beast, you know, because but, but one thing I love about Kevin Conroy's portrayal of Batman from the animated series on forward is there is these great subtle differences in his voice between Bruce Wayne and Batman, to where it's kind of like Spider-Man in a sense, but in a more believable way, because when Tobey Maguire did Spider-Man, or when Andrew Garfield did Spider-Man, or even when Tom Holland did Spider-Man, if you know the kid, you probably you're like, well, isn't that Spider-Man? But with Batman, he does alter his voice in a sense. It's not, where are the other drugs going? Or, well, here I am. You know, it's not what we've seen in live action, but it's the subtle hints of different personalities which come out when the different personality is in the room with you. And I like that. I like that about Kevin Conroy. The story of The Killing Joke is basically one of the origin stories for the Joker. And it's the telling of him, of how he came to be. And it's funny because as I was watching this movie, there's a lot of stuff in there that tie back to the Dark Knight trilogy, which I was like, okay. You know, like I said, I have the book, I have the comic, but I haven't read it all the way through. I looked at it, and I enjoy it, but I just haven't gone all the way through and appreciated it. But having seen the movie, which is my preferred medium, I can see connections to the Dark Knight. And it was kind of fun, you know, to see those connections. And hopefully going forward, we don't know what Leto's going to do yet, but this is classic Joker. This is classic Batman. So these are stuff that people borrow from today when they're making films. And we get a movie about one of the pillars of who Batman is, who the Joker is, and that is The Killing Joke. And they did a magnificent job. The music is phenomenal. The acting is phenomenal. Mark Hamill sings the song from the comic, and he is once again awesome. If you played Arkham Knight, he sings on Arkham Knight, and he is in the asylum. And he does it again here with I'm so loony. Yeah. Oh gosh, it's just fantastic. And the story, what they did in the story, I know that they added the Barbara Gordon part at the beginning. It kind of gives you a really good experience in that, because it becomes not only a Batman and Joker story, but it also becomes a Barbara Gordon story, to where you care about her when the Joker shows up on her front door and shoots her and paralyzes her, turning her into Oracle, you know, who she becomes later. And that's not a spoiler, because if you've read the comics and if you know the comics, this is your kindergarten level, entry level comic book here. Like if you care about Batman, this is what you go to. It's one of the things you go to. So that's not a spoiler because come on. But you cared more about her because they went in and they inserted it, and I like that, because The Killing Joke pushes Batman to his limits, and it makes him go on the edge and question everything. And they juxtapose that with Barbara Gordon in what they did before, because they had like a kind of, I don't know, like the first act of The Killing Joke was basically a story about Barbara Gordon that they put in, but it fits so well with the narrative that it doesn't really take you away from the story. The only time it took me away from the story was when they faded out in between. Oh, by the way, this was just an intro. Now you're going to see The Killing Joke. But they didn't say that. It was just fade in or fade out, fade in. If that hadn't been in there and they would have just cut to the next scene, I feel that it wouldn't have taken me out of the movie at all. Tara Strong is in this. She plays Batgirl, Barbara Gordon. All of the people that were in the animated series are in this, and it's awesome. You get there's a couple of hints to other characters that are in the animated series, and this honestly feels like Mask of the Phantasm, an extension of Batman the Animated Series. So I like that. I like that they had that. It's not exactly the same, and there is difference, but there is a kind of continuity there. Oh, I forgot to mention. Yes, I'm doing my review. By the way, I'm doing my review in an Iron Man shirt. This does not mean he likes Marvel better than DC. It's just this is the shirt I was wearing. I walked into the movie theater, and the guy at the counter tells me, "Dude, you're gonna get shot." And I'm like, "Say that again?" And he's like, "You're gonna get shot because you're wearing an Iron Man shirt to a Batman movie." I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't think that one through." But I'm like, if I went into the screening, I might as well do the review in my Iron Man shirt. I love DC, and I think it's evident by what I've just said. At the end of the day, I know it's a limited release, so you probably can't go see it now. But buy it when the movie comes out because it's really good. It really was the comic brought to life for all intents and purposes, and they did a fantastic job, I think. And I've seen a lot of the DC animated features. This is probably the crown jewel of the DC animated department or division or whatever, because it was masterful. The choices they made from a directorial standpoint, from an art department standpoint, it makes sense, and it was gritty, but it was artistic and superfluous at times when it came to the Joker. It was really and it comes from the comic. It really does. It comes from the source material, which is absolutely rich in imagery that they give, and what the visual medium of film allows for is for the picture to have motion, to have life, more so than the comic already has. And this comic is one of the best comics for Batman fans, for Joker fans, for DC fans. So that's pretty much all I have to say. Top marks for all these guys. And I'm really hoping to see more. I'm really hoping Mark Hamill doesn't hang up his hat yet, because I could keep watching him. And actually, one of the things they touched on, I'm going to say this and then I'll do my outro, is that, a lot of people had asked Mark Hamill, well, don't you think you've done it enough? What keeps you going back to the character? And I liked what he said, because he's, the Joker's insane. And being that he's insane, there's always that extra thing that draws you back in, because there's that corner of his mind that is just unexplored. Those memories that are just so vile. All of those things that just kept drawing him back to the role. Sorry, I went kind of Joker there for a minute. It's kind of hard not to, because I can do it. But anyway, like I said, top marks. The movie was excellent. Go buy it when it comes out. It comes out in August. And this was a great, kind of before Suicide Squad, because I'm really looking forward to that, and I'm going to go see it opening night probably. So, with all that said, and with all that out of the way, this is Movie Critic Rob, or this has been Movie Critic Rob with the Movie Channel, and I'm signing off.